But this is yet another attempt. This is yet another attempt of us to communicate to you things that are happening in the school in a variety of ways. I know some of you made it to our coffee and conversation last week with the Parent Guardian Association that was in person, and here is a virtual option. Now, these virtual town halls, these actually, some of you have heard me say this before, but they came out of the pandemic and in a way for us to reimagine and rethink the way that we're able to connect and engage with our families. And as you probably experienced in your own lives, some of the things that we adopted and adapted to during the pandemic have just stayed with us because it's good practice. So this is an additional way in which we can let you know things that are happening in the school. So certainly the Thursday afternoon newsletter is a great way. Occasional PGA coffee and conversations. Dave will talk a little bit more probably in a few moments about the Tuesday morning drop-ins with the PGA on campus. We want to make sure that we are supporting your needs and communicating things that are happening. So that is one of the tenets here that we're following. Um, for those that may have not met me, and hopefully you all have, but my name is Lance Conrad. I'm the head of school. This is year 20 for me. A lot of my work, well, let me talk about the agenda today. I'm going to take about 5 minutes to talk about some of the things that I'm working on. I'm going to pass it over to Dave Misha, who is the chair of the PGA this year, and he's going to give you some updates. And then we're going to actually kind of popcorn around with my senior administrative team. We got about 10, 12 members of the senior administrative team. They're going to be on the call and giving you quick 2 to 3 minute updates on what's happening in their neck of the woods, and filling you in on things that they believe will be relevant and important to you and your work as parents supporting that side of our child's development. Then we will have an open opportunity toward the end for question and answer. I know that parents are in various levels of comfort with having their cameras on or off. Certainly, as we get into the Q&A, that's a great time to put on to put the cameras on and get involved and engaged and see and be with each other. Along the way, during this popcorn exercise, if you have questions, use the chat feature, and my team will just answer those questions along the way using the chat. Once we get to the Q&A at the end, yes, you can continue to use the chat if you'd like, but that's a great opportunity just to ask directly through this gallery space on Zoom. And we hope to be done in about an hour. So with that, let me just take a few minutes. This is a really cool time for us because we're in planning mode. If I kind of take you back, rewind 5, 6 years to the pandemic, not that we want to go there, but in February of 2020, we opened the Visual and Performing Arts Center. That was our last major capital building project prior to the pandemic, and that was an exciting time for us. Shrek opened, we were excited, and then just about 3 weeks later, we actually went on spring break, and we stayed away for that spring trimester of 2020, as did all schools. And that actually the pandemic gave me an opportunity as we closed out one strategic plan with the school to get into a really great time of planning with the Board of Trustees for the next 5 years. And that 5 year period is now coming to a close. So we're in year 5 of a 5 year strategic plan that the genesis came out of the pandemic and thinking about what are things that we needed to do as a school post-pandemic to revitalize ourselves and set us up for future success. So just quickly, some of those elements that we're concluding in this 5th final year of our current strategic plan. We certainly needed to return to school with full enrollment. First, our goals were to sustain enrollment of 180 students, but boarding was our biggest question mark. Can we restore our boarding population, regain our international students? Last year and this year, we have 43 international students. Last year from 23 different countries, this year from 13 different countries, and they represent 50% of our boarding population. So about 25% of our student body are international students, well, 22% actually, and we're at right now 60% day students and 40% boarders with our dorms almost full. So we have taken this journey to repopulate our dorms. And a lot of that was putting together the right, obviously, early safety protocols, but more importantly, programming and campus planning. And this initiative you've heard about, Embracing Boston, for our residential community. So that was really important for the school, is to get full again, if you will, post-pandemic with our boarding population. That was our one of our greatest challenges. Also, with the same time, our Running Brook camp, our summer programming, which is an amazing 8-week day camp that also has adventures, we need to rebuild that and restore our enrollment and revenue coming from that really important auxiliary revenue source for the school, and grow that program, which we have. We are now, this past year, we had our record high number of enrollment and revenue from the camp, which is fantastic. We also focus more on deferred maintenance projects. We wanted to look at a new teaching and learning space when we did plans. And obviously, the Landry Center opened at the end of the school year last year, and students are using it this year. And that CapEx project, that building project, bricks and mortar, replaced an old building called Atwood at the north end of campus. And with that, we had a capital campaign, a very successful $2.6 million campaign, in order to support the investment in that teaching and learning space. We continue to look very closely at faculty staff compensation and benefits and how we can support our colleagues. We continue to look at our campus master plan, not just short term, but long term, and how we want to develop the campus. Um, and now in the last 2 years, we've been very much focused on increasing that enrollment growth from 180 up to 200, which we achieved last year. We've taken a little bit step back this year, but with that, the launching of our middle school. So that was another key part of our strategic plan, was to launch a middle school. And right now it's at, about 15 students. We would love for that to be doubled that size, 30 in the years ahead. All of you can help as being ambassadors of CHCH. Growing the middle school program and having that as a natural feeder into ninth grade is really important to us. We believe that the mission resonates with younger students in middle school, and we need to get the good word out. So you all can be helpful in that. Um, and I'd say the last part that we're really working on right now, the only piece of the strategic plan that we haven't tackled, which is in process, is looking at our athletic facilities, and specifically the upper field, something that we've been ruminating about for 20 years, my whole 20 years here, thinking about what do we need to do to better improve our outdoor athletic facilities. And so we have some design plans, and we're now kind of testing that out and seeing, if our community has the propensity and capacity to support a possible campaign for um, improved athletic facilities, which is an important piece of the experience for our students. So those are some of the elements in this current 5-year strategic plan that will come to a close in May with the end of the school year. But that also means that I've got this daunting task ahead of me this winter to work with a few members of my senior administrative team and also a handful of members from the Board of Trustees to create a strategic planning task force that we need to bring together every few years to map out the next piece of the road ahead. We've decided that this is going to be a 3-year plan that's going to really focus on the bicentennial of the school. So this is going to be a 2026 to 2029 strategic plan. 2027-28 is our bicentennial. So Chauncey Hall was established in 1828 in downtown Crossing in Boston. And we want to make sure that as we enter the third century of work, as an educational institution focused on teaching and learning, that we're able to stop and pause and celebrate all the amazing work and that has been done and will continue to be done in the years ahead. So this is an important piece of thinking about um, celebration. The reality is that if we want to move forward with athletic facility upgrades, that too will be part of this 3-year strategic plan that we map ahead. At the same time, and Ben Riggs will talk about this in a little bit later, we as in faculty, staff, and trustees are going through our own self-study work, which is a 10-year process for reaccreditation with ACNE, and looking at ourselves reflectively about who we are, do we fulfill our mission, what can we do better, and really coming up with major recommendations and commendations for the school. And then next fall, we'll have a visiting team of educators from independent schools all over New England, a group of probably about 8 individuals that'll come to campus next October, and assess and see if we do what we say we do. We meet the standards that are set forth by the Association of Independent Schools in New England. So we're really excited about that process because self-reflection is always a great moment for us to look very sternly and honestly and authentically at what we do, why we do it, how we do it, and then making the necessary pivots to be better at our work. And as a learning institution, that's really important to all of us. So with that, I'm going to stop. I am going to now take a moment to welcome Dave. Dave is going to give you a little bit of overview of PGA stuff on the horizon. As a reminder for everybody, we are recording this, and we will get this out to the PGA en masse later today. Dave.
Thanks, Lance. And good morning, everybody. For those of you that haven't met me yet, my name is Dave Mish. I'm the PGA co-chair. Amy Thompson's on this call. She's my co-chair with me. This is my third or our third year at Chapel Hill. My son Dan is in 11th grade. And for anyone that went to the Little Tekka concert last night, I will tell you that Dan, like your kids, is also dragging this morning. Slept most of the way here in the car this morning. So long night, late night, early morning for all of us. But I'll try to keep this quick. So our focus this year has been on connections, on connecting parents. And I love that we have so many parents on the call today. We're still trying to work our way through how to best meet you at a time that's convenient and a time that makes it easy for you to interact with the school and really tie into the school community. The theme this year of We Are CHCH is really something that the school community for the kids is really focusing on. But as from the parent perspective, we're CHCH too. And it's important for us to be engaged with each other and really try to build on what the kids are developing in on campus every day as parents. I know I've been trying to make it to every one of my son's JV soccer games. That's been hit or miss a little bit. And I stopped into the girls' JV, the girls' varsity game the other day. It's great to see parents cheering and talking to each other and meeting each other. I still have a hard time navigating talking to away parents. And last year, I had a whole long conversation with an away parent that wasn't productive. Well, it was productive. She was very nice, but it wasn't productive in the sense that I wasn't talking to someone from our school. So please, if you're at a game, if you're at an event, reach out, talk to the other parents. There are some very, very, very neat people here that are on the parent group, and that kind of interaction is really important to building community, and that's something that we really want to focus on this year. A couple quick things. Uh, these will all be in the newsletter, so don't hold me to dates and times, but they'll all be in the newsletter. We have our first night event, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. It's on October 8th at 7 p.m. That'll be our first Zoom meeting. It's a 7 o'clock Zoom meeting for parents. We'll do a different format than this. This is much more of a town hall format for this morning. Our format that night will have a lot more time for Q&A. And it's really, again, us trying to find what is that magical time that we can connect with parents. Maybe not everyone every time, but keep trying to make contact with parents on their schedules. Drop-in hours coming back on Tuesday. If there's a school holiday, obviously we're not here, so we won't be here for it. I hope it's not raining like this. If it is, we'll see what happens. But if the weather's good, we'll be out in front of East Hall again. Please wave as you drive by, stop by and chat. It's been great this year, meeting some new parents, catching up with old parents or returning parents that are folks we haven't seen in a while. Please come say hello, even if it's 5 minutes. Don't feel like you need to get sucked into a conversation if you don't have time, but stop in, say hello. It's a great group, and we've had some fun chats so far. Opportunities. If you want to help get involved with the PGA, we have opportunities that are little asks. We have opportunities that are slightly bigger asks. None of them really complicated. But we do have some things coming up that are in the pipeline. We're finalizing right now our grade level reps. Each grade level will have a representative, someone you can reach out to directly, someone that'll help organize messaging within your grade level. If you'd like to be involved in that, we're looking for folks. We have a pretty good group so far, but we can always use more help. So if you'd like to be involved, that's a really easy ask, something that's relatively small. And I think that's it. Really biggest thing as far as scheduling goes and events, please pay attention to the newsletter. Again, the PGA section is all the way at the bottom, but please at least buzz to the bottom and read through that section. We'll update it every week with things that are going on, schedule updates. We'll try to give you a projection out for a couple of weeks for anything that's happening, and then you'll get an email reminder for anything super important. Uh, and otherwise, enjoy your day. The rain isn't late enough. Lance, that's all I have. Thanks very much for joining, folks, and have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, no, we need the rain. Let's face it, we need the rain. We've had a great spell of wonderful weather, but we do need a little bit of rain. All right, we're going to go into like what we call popcorn, which is simply asking the admin team members that are on the call to just take 2 or 3 minutes, let you know what's happening in their neck of the woods, to help keep you up to date. We're going to begin with Josh Bubar. Josh, go ahead, man.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the non-academic stuff, the really exciting stuff that's going on campus. We have had, as many of you know, Lizzie Rosen and Ian McPhail have taken over our Director of Campus Life position. They're as co-directors. Our clubs fair about a week and a half ago was outstanding. We're getting great participation there from students. I talked to Connor Mulqueen just yesterday, and he said his the enrollment in Model UN is up 50% over last year. And so he's really excited about that. I think that's happening across the board in our clubs. And so as you talk to your students, if they're involved in clubs, great, love to see it. And if they're not, you should really encourage them. They can reach out to Ian or Lizzie or any of the grade level deans to direct them towards any of the number of clubs that we have here on campus that are operating and kind of really achieving liftoff. We also have Lizzie and Ian are putting together our community weekend here, our boarding community weekend here. So we have some really great stuff going on for our boarders, but also for our day students. So I think it's mostly day student parents here on the call. And I would encourage you, if your child wants to come back to campus and hang out and do some of the activities that they should really plan on doing that. It's a great thing to do on the weekends. I realize for some of you that means one more trip here and trip home. That might be a little more than you really want, but at the same time, I think it's a great chance for our boarders and our day students to really spend time together outside of classes and get to know each other. And then lastly, I think for us, our boarding life program is off to a great start. Generally speaking, as Lance noted, like our dorms are back to almost full, really at our kind of pre-COVID levels, which is made this place a much, much more vibrant place 24/7. And so I think we're off to a great start in all those dimensions. And I think I'll hand it over. Neil, are you next?
Great. Thank you, Josh. Good morning, everybody. My name is Neil Hagan. I'm our Director of Counseling and Wellness. I'm going to give a few updates on our counseling work, our wellness education, and from our health office. On the counseling side of things, every year we meet one-on-one with every new student. Most of them are ninth graders, but there's 62 in total so far right now. We have met with 53 of them in the first few weeks of the school year. So if you have a new student here, odds are they have already checked in with the counseling office. They know who we are, they know we're a resource, and it has been a delight to get to meet our new students. Um, on the programming side of things, our wellness education is underway. We start off the year with 11th graders. They're doing their choice-based elective model wellness, so picking between an elective on substance use and addiction, or understanding how their brain works using a platform called Agile Brain and a few other options. Um, Starting next week, every ninth and 11th grader will begin their sexual health education series. We contract out with Educa Health. An expert comes in and delivers a 5-lesson series to every ninth and 11th grader. They'll be talking about that in advisory today to make sure they know how that's impacting their schedule, where to go, and so they're prepared for that. On the health side of things, on October 10th, so in just over 2 weeks on a Friday, we will have a vaccine clinic. Our amazing nurses host it every fall, where your students can get a flu vaccine if you would like. There'll be announcements coming out in an upcoming newsletter. It's a really easy process. You really just click a link and put in some information, and your kids can get a vaccine on campus, as can faculty and staff. So be on the lookout for that. If you have any questions or you want to ask me about any of this or something I didn't mention, please feel free to put it in the chat or email me. I may have to sign off before we do our verbal Q&A, but I welcome any questions. And from here, let's see, passing it off to you, Ben.
Thanks, Neil. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate all of your efforts helping your students to kind of launch into the school year. I know it's a crazy time of year, but the energy, as Josh said, has been fantastic, both in the boarding program and during the school day to start the year. So we're all really excited. As Lance teed up, I'm going to talk a little bit about our self-study process that we're engaged in currently. We have all our full faculty and staff taking part in our self-study, and we're in the data collection phase of that study. So we have 14 committees that our full faculty and staff are engaged in, starting back in post-sessionals in the spring, and then restarting this fall with our pre-sessional meetings, and then just this Monday on our late start day. So we have a series of professional development days built into the calendar where we're doing that work. And we're really in that data collection phase right now with interviews and surveys. And there's a ask to that end that I have of the parent body, and you'll see that in the newsletter today. So Mike Daniels and I are co-chairing this process, and we have a note in there today to remind folks that we have a survey coming out to parents the week of Indigenous Peoples Day. And my big ask today is please, 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 I know we're all over surveyed, but if we could just take a few minutes to fill out that survey, that would be super helpful. It will give us much better data and representation of our parent body if we have really great participation in that survey. So just a personal ask from me to take a few minutes and fill out that survey when it comes out the week of Indigenous Peoples Day. The energy's been great in that process so far, and we'll be able to take that data this fall and go to the writing process this winter to be able to put together a really comprehensive self-study report. So I just want to thank you all in advance for your participation in that process. And I'm going to kick it over to Sarah Masucci, our 910 program director.
Sarah, you're on mute, my friend. Sorry.
Oh, goodness. So sorry about that. Good morning. I was saying that I am over here in our new building, the Landry Center, which is just phenomenal. And my office, it has glass on all sides. So as people walk by, they wave, they smile. So if my eyes look like they're drifting, I apologize, but it's kind of like a fishbowl. Exciting to see all of you here today and really fun to have the kids back on campus. I am going to give a very quick update about some sort of weekly nuts and bolts of the school day, specifically talking about our progress notes and talking about advisory. Our progress notes have started, and you should be able to see those. Those are our system for teachers to provide regular updates to students and to families about how things are going in their classes. These are available for students to see on Tuesdays, and then they become available for you to see on Wednesdays. And you can access them through the Mitch profile that you have. And we use progress notes for a host of reasons, but one of the biggest things is that this is a way for us to make sure that students and families and teachers are all seeing the same information. For our 7th, 8th, and ninth graders, these come out weekly and include quick updates about what's happening in class, maybe some highlights, any work that's outstanding that needs to get finished. For our older students in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, they come out every other week in that format. But in the intervening weeks, if there is outstanding work, students will be alerted to that. And our goal with that is to sort of pull back some of the scaffolding while also keeping kind of the big net underneath. Students go over their progress notes with their advisors on Tuesdays, and that hopefully provides them with a nice opportunity to make a plan. So far, students have received, I think we've had 2 weeks of progress notes, and I guess it would be 3 counting this week. We have advisory today. We had a little bit of a funky schedule because we didn't have classes on Tuesday. And I think the biggest thing that I would say about these is that we see these as a starting point. And certainly, if you notice something in a progress note that you have a question about, that's a great opportunity to reach out to your student's advisor to get more information. Because our hope is that by having everybody continue to be kind of informed on a regular basis, we can avoid any of the surprises that none of us want to have as we move through the term. I've mentioned advisors and advisory a couple of times. Our advisories meet weekly on Tuesdays, except special weeks like this one when we're meeting on a different day because we didn't have classes. And those have been really getting started over the past couple of weeks and students are settling in. I know in our ninth grade, we're going to be doing some paired advisories to just provide more opportunities for students in that kind of casual setting to meet other classmates, to interact with another faculty member. So that space is really kind of getting settled with the school year, but your student's advisor is always the kind of first person you may want to reach out to, and I hope that you will take advantage of that. So if you are having any sort of technical issues with accessing progress notes, please let folks know. Mitch is a great place where kind of everything lives, but every so often it can be hard to find things, and we want to make sure you have that information. And if you have questions about how things are going for your student, please reach out to advisors. And looking at the agenda here, I think I'm going to pass things off to Stephanie Daniels.
Hi, morning, everyone. I'm just going to talk quickly about parent teacher guardian conferences that are coming up on Tuesday, October 14th. September 17th, all parents and guardians received an email from me detailing the format for the day and what the day will look like. Conferences will be either virtual or in person, and the scheduling software will open up at 7 a.m. on Monday morning, September 29th. So if families, if you have not already gone in and tried to make sure your account is still active, I would encourage everybody to do that. All new families, I set up an account for you already with a temporary password. It would be good for everybody to go in and make sure your login and password are still active. If you have any problems with that, please let me know before Monday morning. If you are a parent or guardian and you're trying to book conferences and a specific teacher that your child has already is booked, please let me know and I will help facilitate scheduling meetings on alternate dates and times. But this is a really good way for you to put faces with names of the faculty that are working directly with your children if you have not met them already in person. But we're going to also ask that if you need to meet with an advisor or a coach or any of the program directors, we ask that you try to make those meetings on other dates. We really want to make sure that teachers, faculty that are in the classroom with your children are meeting with parents and guardians that day. But if there's any questions about the software system or anything, please let me know. You can reach out or call or email me. But I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly on Monday morning when the system opens up. And Matt, I think you're up.
To me, yes. Hello, everybody. Matt Soul, Director of Marketing and Communications. Just, the beginning of the year has been a lot of our early setup. We've been doing our emergency text messaging system, getting all of our student IDs, which all went out last week. We had a few left to get, but those should be all out now. Lots of photo sharing. Parents haven't seen it yet. The Flickr album that's on the top of the homepage. It's the two dots on the top of the homepage there. Is where we categorize a lot of our albums in addition to some of the highlights that go out on social media. So make sure to follow there. And then, the newsletter's been mentioned a lot. Obviously, that's every Thursday. That's really the centerpiece of all the news that we put out there. If you ever are having any issue accessing that, please let me know, msoule@chch.org. And if you ever have a question, you can always reply to the newsletter. We get that as well. And we will have open house. I know Shannon's going to talk a minute about some admissions events, but we will have open house yard signs for parents and guardians if they want to pick them up, available outside of East Hall. So those will be in the morning. We'll have a few faculty staff out there, and then on Tuesdays with the PGA, you can come and grab a yard sign and put that out and help spread the word. Thank you. And we are going over to Gwen Pajasic.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gwen Pajacek, and I am the CFO of the school. And you heard Sarah talk earlier about being in our new building, the Landry Center. One of the things that's really exciting about the Landry Center is it's our first non-fossil fuel reliant building on campus. So we are bringing that building online, seeing how it gets lived in and sort of adjusting. But one of the things that was a key piece of the design was how does it interplay with the landscape? And so we're working to bring on a pollinator garden off to the side, enhancing the area around the building. And so those pieces are still in process. And that links us also to some other initiatives across campus, working with the environmental club to bring our greenhouse space to life. And they're going to be working on different types of plantings, but also starting out by growing some herbs, which will then be used in our dining hall. Which is another update I wanted to give. We do have a new chef in our dining hall, and things have been going really well. And we're working with Student Leadership Council to make sure that we're filling the needs of our students and putting things on the menu that they're excited about. We added this year a smoothie break that is happening on Wednesdays and Fridays right after the end of the day prior to co-curriculars. And the students have been really taking advantage of that and loving it. And we're also looking to roll out a couple initiatives for our boarding students on Saturday nights, but also day students are certainly welcome. We're looking to roll out an initiative called Chef's Table, which will be more where like a student could order what they'd like for dinner and have sort of interaction with the chef as he makes it. And then we're also looking to add a late night snack option for our boarding students as well. So lots of changes coming in the dining hall. We're also looking to revamp our brunch menus and have that more interactive and fun. So I encourage you, if you have a day student or a boarder, to send in your feedback and check it out. And with that, I'll turn it over to Shannon.
Thanks, Gwen. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shannon Fortin. I'm the Associate Director of Admission at the school. Happy to be here this morning to talk a little bit about what we have going on in the admissions office. The beginning of the year is always really exciting for our team to see all of the returning students, and particularly every year the new students that we have been working with throughout the year. And we love to see them arrive at school and become part of the community. So it's been really exciting this year over the last couple of weeks to watch that happen once again. As soon as the school year starts, we are already thinking about fall of 2026 in our office. So we are already interviewing, touring, meeting prospective families, going to different schools, traveling. We're all over the place. So we have a couple of big events coming up this fall that were mentioned earlier. We have 2 open houses every year. Those are coming up on October 19th and November 2nd. You'll be hearing more about those, and hopefully some of your students will be helping us on those days, volunteer for that event. But if you know a student that you think Chapel Hill might be a good place for, please encourage them to come to open house or to reach out to the admissions team. Like Matt mentioned, we are going to have yard signs available. So that's a small way that you can help us spread the word about these events coming up. Those will be available in the morning at drop off. We've all been out there in the mornings. Hopefully you've seen some of us out there greeting your students and waving. So you can pick up a yard sign if you would like to. I'm going to turn it over to Nikki, I think.
Thanks, Shannon. Hi, I'm Nikki Turpin. I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion here at CHCH. Wanting to let you know a little bit about some of our Amazing Student Life programming just for this month alone. It's Hispanic Heritage Month, as many of you might know. So you'll be seeing some students cooking in the kitchen later in October, as well as some amazing live performances from one of our local dance studios that's coming in to teach us how to salsa. There'll be some contests in that, some teacher versus student and student versus student competitions. So we're going to all learn how to salsa properly so that now we can actually do that. So I'm very excited to have that be one of our newer workshops that we're bringing to the entire school, as well as in the beginning of October, we're going to have our breast cancer fundraiser and pink out day. So we'll be pink everywhere. Everyone's going to be encouraged to wear their pink items in support of helping continue finding the cure for breast cancer and supporting those who are going through that. Something that's really dear to my heart. And I know probably many, if not everyone here, has been touched by someone who is fighting or has fought that fight. So really cool to get our athletes to have a pink out day finally, which I'm really excited about. Another thing that's coming up is a revamp of Chargie's Closet. If you do not know, similar to NYU, CHCH has its own free thrift store for students and faculty to take advantage of, meaning you can bring your items that you're like, they still have some journey left in them, but not with me. Or if you're like, I need something that's a little bit new for me, but accessible and free. So Our students are encouraged to come during their lunch blocks, or if they have a couple extra minutes between getting to another class, if they're already in the cottage, to come in and grab things. Our faculty and staff are encouraged to come and find some new jeans. Many a times, the best part of this is that you get to see how someone has styled your item. If you don't know me, I am super into fashion. I watch the Met Gala like it's like a book on and study. So I love to see how people take someone else's item and make it their own. I love gifting my stuff to other people. I love my daughter loves gifting her stuff to people who are around, and knowing that it'll make a change and they'll be happy with it even though it no longer fits her. So it's nice to have that on our campus, and seeing that expand. So the Chargie's Closet is going to be up and running starting next week. So if you have some items that you're going through right now, you're like, those jeans are never going to fit me. Or like, I'm really into barrel jeans suddenly and I don't know why, but I'm going to do it. So I need to get rid of all these skinny jeans. Please feel free to drop them off at the cottage, or send me a quick email and I'll happily meet you in front of the barn to grab whatever you might have and want to donate. And then today, I'm probably gonna have to scoot probably 10 minutes before this ends to go meet our summer speaker. So if you did not know, we have Autumn Allen visiting our school today. She wrote our community summer reading, which was All You Have to Do. So she's coming in to give a quick 45-minute talk about writing the book, and then take some Q&A from some of our students. We actually surveyed, because obviously there's a lot of questions and thoughts about what she wrote. So we took a few of the top hits, and we have 4 students representing us on stage to ask her those questions. And then later on today, you should check out our TikTok, or maybe later this week, because there's going to be a quick interview with her as well, so you can get a little bit more in depth with our community reading and the author. I'm going to pass this over to Kelly, I believe. Yes.
Thanks, Nikki. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Walsh, head of middle school, coming to you from middle school gym class right now. So thank you for your patience. I wanted to share actually 2 updates that are less related to middle school this morning. The first ties into Nikki's announcements about our current and soon upcoming student life workshops, but I'm looking all the way ahead to March, when we are going to celebrate Women's History Month again by inviting women to campus to share their journeys with our students. And so, like last year, I'm going to put out a plea. If you or any women in your life, either professional or personal, would like to join our students here on campus, we would really prefer in-person visitors. But if it has to be Zoom, that's fine. We can work that out. So please let me know if that's something that you know of someone who might be interested in helping us out. Also, I have just made a connection in the community with the Leland House, which is a residence for low-income seniors right around the corner in Waltham. And they are looking for both musicians and friends. They have put out an offer to us and to other local schools to come and share our musical talents, perhaps perform some short, if we have a monologue or a small skit from a class, and also invited us to play ping pong, billiards, perhaps chess. So middle school is going to start visiting Leland House very soon. I have some upper school students who also expressed interest, but if your student might be someone who could benefit from a visit to Leland House with us, please let me know. I put out a call to upper school students, but sometimes they need a little nudge. So love to have them join us in this community effort. And finally, student council elections are nearly finished. I'm using the term student council because our senior leaders, the Nadalia and Isaac, are interested in shifting from Student Leadership Council to just Student Council. When we bring the full group together on Monday, we'll finalize that name change. It just seems to roll off the tongue a little better. They like that idea. So stay tuned for that. Election results for 9th, 10th, and 11th grades will be shared tomorrow. And I am still in the middle school, and things are going great in the middle school. We're off to a great start. And oh, and a 7th grader just didn't want to be caught on film. So thank you again. Reach out if you have any questions about student council or Leland House or middle school. And I think
Leslie, yeah.
Leslie.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Leslie Jacobson Kay. I'm the Chief Advancement Officer. My team is also here, Kate Nichols and Rebecca LeMaitre. We are all about community engagement and events and fundraising. The big focus right now, actually today, you will be receiving an invitation for the Fall Gala, which is happening on Saturday, November 1st. It's going to be here in the Visual and Performing Arts Center. We're going to be completely transforming the gallery and the theater, and we're really excited about focusing on our global community, focusing and celebrating our global community through food and music and student showcases. It's been really heartening to see the way the students have already expressed, a lot of them volunteering to be involved in the evening. We're really excited about that. But the main thing, I think one of the most important things that we do is to, similar to what Dave was saying through the PGA about helping you connect with each other. So when you come to an event like this, sometimes we find people will hesitate. Maybe they're coming on their own or they don't know anybody yet. And it is early in the year. And the three of us, often you'll see us quietly in the background. And a lot of what we're doing is looking for people who might be by themselves or not talking to somebody else and connecting you with each other. We really want you to build relationships. I know for myself as a past parent too, getting to know other parents is really important and makes you feel part of the community. There's somebody there to say hello to you. So we are really, we really do focus on that and want to make sure that when you come to things like this, that you feel welcome and that you leave maybe knowing one more person than you do before you came. So we hope you'll join us for the gala, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Leslie. And a great example of that ability to get to know new people is to right now engage in this exercise of question and answer for the last 15 minutes. And for many of you that are off camera, to come on camera and to put names and faces together is really, really helpful for the Parent Guardian Association. So if you'd like to ask us, anyone on the senior administrative team, a question about a follow-up question or something new, this is your time as part of this town hall exercise up until 9:30 to ask any questions. If you're not comfortable asking through the video interface, certainly you can use the chat feature as well. So far, all we have are a couple of thumbs up on the ribs last week, the barbecue ribs. Certainly, that's a great comment. Thank you, Dave. We're open to wonderful comments and even critical comments, but questions are even better. So this is your time. Anyone that has questions, please feel free to pop on the camera and ask away. So I remember back in 1993, my first week in a classroom as a teacher, one of the veteran teachers said to me, Lance, sometimes you're going to like to teach in a history class Socratically, and you want to ask questions and throw them out there. If you wait and allow that quiet space to exist, the students will eventually fill it for you. You just have to outweight them. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I am going to outweight you, and somebody's not going to be able to stand the silence anymore, and will ask a question.
I've got a question, and this is something I could have asked my wife perhaps because she's more on top of this. I just work all day long in biotech, but I think it's for Sarah, and I'm just referring to my notes here. I was just curious about the progress notes and how things are flagged for kids who maybe have a little bit of deficit in executive function, timely execution. Are they flagged by importance and urgency? So things float to the top so you can see the do or die things versus the things that are important but not so urgent. How does that come out?
Sure. So on the weekly notes, teachers will include a list of work that might be behind or missing. And for different classes, there are different amounts of time that students have to complete those assignments. As we get closer to our mid-trimester and end of trimester, when we do longer, more detailed notes, there will be a progress note that does provide sort of a priority list. One of the things that is part of our progress note system is talking about those with an advisor. So if one of my advisees has a list of 4 or 5 missing assignments, one of the things that I would do with them is one, confirm that they are not actually done and just not submitted. This is very common. And
Yeah.
two, the next piece is kind of what you were just asking about, which is making a prioritized list. What are the things that most need to happen now? What kind of support might you need? Do you need to go to office hours with that teacher? Are you part of our SAS program? And is that teacher someone who can help you? Typically, when a student has a large number of assignments missing for a particular class, the first step will be making a connection, and the advisor often does this, between the student and the teacher to use an office hours block to really kind of determine what needs to happen, what support is needed, and when it's all going to happen. So that's kind of the goal in there. And then if an assignment is listed on a progress note from week to week, that means it's still able to be completed and still something that, really needs to get done. For example, if there was a 5-word vocabulary sheet and it didn't get done for 3 weeks, that might just stop being something that is kind of at the top of the priority list versus something that's a little bit more of a meaty assignment.
Right. So very dynamic. And one additional question, and this is one I could have asked my daughter, but it just popped into my head during the call. For newbies to the campus, is there a student mentor that's kind of helping them navigate the culture and just the school?
There isn't really a student mentorship program, but because we're a really small school and we have so many different sort of small spaces like our advisory, typically in our advisories, the student is with their advisor and maybe 3 or 4 other students. So that space can be a place for that to happen. And certainly if students have questions that they don't maybe want to ask an advisor, they maybe would ask a classmate about that, but we don't have a formal student kind of buddy system.
Yeah. But there's touch points here and there. Okay.
Lots of touch points, lots of touch points in lots of places, because our hope is that by providing lots of different people as potential support or guides for things, that students will be able to connect with someone who feels like the right fit for them, because feeling comfortable when you ask a question tends to make the question kind of more authentic and then allows us to help students more.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks, John, for those questions. Other questions?
I have a quick question. So I'm a parent of a new 8th grader this year, and overall, it's going really great. I think one of the things that we have struggled as both a new parent and a new parent in the middle school is trying to discern from all the communications what is applicable for our 8th grader versus what is applicable for upper school students. And in particular, there seems to be a lot of really great activities, for example, that I know my son would love to participate in, but it is difficult for me to think of my 8th grader participating in those with same as 11th and 12th graders as well. And so just, I think part of like the heart of my question is trying to understand as a middle school parent, which I understand there's only a small group of us compared and relative to the larger school, but it is difficult for us to discern sometimes where we are included in that and where it is a different situation. And I would say also that applies to the students as well. I think I've had a couple conversations with my son where he's like, I don't think that applies to us in middle school. That only applies to upper school. And I didn't have an answer for him there. So I don't know if there's a comment or maybe a reflection, but just wanted to share and would love to hear more about if maybe I'm missing something there, or if there's a nuance I should understand better.
I'll start. Thanks, Hammer. I have two points. One, actually, Lance and I have been talking behind the scenes about this, so stay tuned. And second, I would go with the idea that everything is open to everyone, and we will specify when something is not open to middle schoolers or not open to 9th graders. For example, there was a movie idea presented, and Ms. Cruz said very explicitly, if you are not 17 yet, you will need specific permission from an adult in your life. So that was shared with all of the students. The other piece is that we're talking in middle school about things like clubs, and I am encouraging their participation in clubs, but we're waiting until the last minute before club time starts because we want to have all of the information from the upper school leaders. So for example, some of them are interested in entrepreneurship club. That meets on Wednesdays. We hadn't seen an email yesterday afternoon confirming if Entrepreneurship Club was happening. So I said, let's hold, wait and see. And just a few minutes later, an email came out, said, sorry, due to soccer scheduling, Entrepreneurship Club will not meet today. So we held on that. So I would go with the assumption that it's open to all. And on weekend activities, I'm happy to chat with you, or you can reach out to Sam Cruz, who organizes the weekend activities. They are open to middle schoolers. Again, with we'll restrict some events, and we'd be happy to share with you which ones have an adult present at the whole event. Certainly, that's the case in on-campus events. But some of the off-campus events, it might just be a drop-off at the mall or somewhere else. So that really is up to parents to decide what they're comfortable with.
That's helpful. Thank you so much.
Can I jump into this too for a second?
Yeah, dude.
From a parent perspective, we've actually talked in the PGA a little bit about the different drop-off zones for the school. Middle school typically generally drops off at the Learning Commons. Upper school drops off at the barn. We've discussed, first of all, any Tuesday we're out here for drop-off. If you want to come over, that's awesome. We've talked about actually trying to split some of our time and share some of the parent drop-off time or the Tuesday morning drop-offs on the middle school side, just so we're still emphasizing that if you're a parent here, you're a parent here. And we don't really see a difference between middle school and the upper school from a parent perspective and a parent engagement perspective. So I never, ever want you to feel like you're not welcome in any event that we're doing for parents. It doesn't matter to me, middle school or upper school at all. That's all. That was a great question, too, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Other questions? And what I'll say is sometimes we have questions, but not necessarily for the good of the order, but rather they're very specific to a particular person or program area. All of us are available anytime. We will get back to you as soon as we can with responses to those questions. So feel free to email us. That's obviously the easiest way to get in touch. It's always the first initial of the first name and the last name at chch.org. So I'm L. Conrad at chh.org. But please reach out when questions come up. We're happy to answer and clarify and also pivot when we need to. I also want to certainly say thank you for being here and taking an hour out of your time to connect with us, to stay informed. We will again roll out another virtual town hall at the beginning of the winter trimester and again at the beginning of the spring trimester, just a way to kind of begin each trimester and keep you engaged with things that are happening with the senior administrative team at the school in our program areas. With that, I wish you all a very wonderful, wet Thursday and hopefully a happy weekend, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.